Hello, everyone. My name is Kimmy Randall, and I offer my thanks to you and to Aryan Mishra for inviting me to speak today. My husband, Joe, and myself would like to share with you our love of night or astrophotography and some of the images that we have captured over the last few years. We live in Colorado in the United States of America, which has over 53 mountain peaks reaching above 4,267 meters. These mountains help our night or astrophotography as they help block a lot of the light pollution from the surrounding cities. We find night or astrophotography fun and technically challenging as it takes a great deal of patience and practice since sometimes what you are shooting and when will vary. For example, one shot can take up to several minutes at night. We also find that night or astrophotography requires final adjustments in the post-processing as the camera cannot display all that it captures on the display screen. One of the other ways to get great or not enjoy night or astrophotography outside of the continual practice and settings adjustment is by simply getting lucky. A lot of the time we just need to be willing to go out and see what we find in the sky. Several examples of this is we have gone out to shoot something, be it the full moon rising, the Milky Way, or the aurora borealis, and when we get to where we want to start shooting, we find the weather has altered what we are able to view. For instance, the other night we went out to shoot the Milky Way, and by the time we got to our shooting point, there was a thunderstorm that was moving in and we could no longer see the Milky Way. So instead, we started taking shots of the lightning storm off in the distance. When we got back to our post-processing, we found that the storm that started to cover up the city and covered up the Milky Way in the distance had created a hole through the clouds where we were able to see a C1 aurora borealis and capture it on film. We have been unsuccessful in trying to get pictures of the aurora borealis for over 3 years now. And if that storm wouldn't have moved in and covered the Milky Way, and the closest city would never have been dark enough to catch the aurora borealis. Another example is this last year, as we were waiting for the moon to rise in one direction, we just happened to be shooting the opposite direction and captured a fireball in the sky. So you never know what you may see when you go out at night with no expectations. Another large part of our night photography is actually working with the night light pollution that we experience. A lot of times we will be in town shooting a sunset, and when we get what we call a second sunset, where as soon as the sun goes down and it starts to get dark, the clouds over the city will start to light up from the bottom of with the colors of the light pollution below. When the clouds start to have holes in them, you can see the stars through these beautifully colored clouds as they block the city's light pollution. On very rare occasions, the clouds will sit down low enough on the city that we can get above them. As the clouds cover the city, they absorb the light pollution, creating a shot with a beautiful multicolored blanket under the full night sky with every star in view. Although we have attempted this shot multiple times, we have only been successful in capturing this shot once so far, especially since this type of shot is only typical of weather that we get during the winter months. Finally, there is something very peaceful about night or astrophotography that keeps calling us back out. As you're standing outside, especially in the mountains, and it is just you in the darkness. You can feel a deep sense of peace come over the earth. Everyone has gone to bed, and the earth feels as though it is moving slower and a little less chaotic than during the hustle and bustle of the day. For many centuries, we as a global community have depended on the night sky to guide us, bring wonder to our imaginations, and to remind us that we really are so very small in this vast universe that we live in. When you go out, whether you are alone or with others, embrace the challenges you face and don't become discouraged if at first things don't turn out the way you wanted, as this is part of the Night Sky Challenge. We recommend that everyone try night photography or go out with a night photographer like Aryan so that you can see what you have been missing, because as the modern world and technology increases, the night sky is being forgotten. Thank you again for your time, and happy shooting.